Today I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. Hi guys, I'm Stacey. I'm here with you today to show you how to do curling your hair with a flat iron. It is something we are asked about constantly in the salon, and it is a hard, tricky thing to kind of overcome if you're used to working with a curling iron. But I'll tell you some of the benefits of working with a curling iron versus a flat iron. The flat iron benefits are if you do have some texture or wave to your hair, you're able to smooth the hair out while creating a new shape or form or wave. There's a couple different fun ways you can use the flat iron. Additionally, I tend to feel like the flat iron allows your curls or waves to stay longer than a curling iron. Now, science behind it, I'm not sure, but that's just the feedback that lots of our peers have. That's how I feel about it, and lots of our customers comment about that as well. But I will tell you that styling products make a huge difference on the longevity of your style, whether you're curling or flat ironing. So we'll jump in and talk a little bit about that. So I always recommend blow drying your hair for the best outcome of your style, to help keep the style, to keep volume in your hair. So the products I use when my hair is wet before I blow dry it. Number one, I always use oil milk. So this is a great detangler and heat protector, which is super important before you blow dry or flat iron your hair. The second thing I put on my hair is the blow dry primer. I use this from the roots all the way down to the ends. For my whole head, it's anywhere between 10 to 12 sprays. The blow dry primer helps to hold your style better. It also helps to eliminate the effects of humidity, which is a huge saver. Next up, I want to make sure I create a lot of volume in my root area. I personally love the volumizing mousse. So this I put about a baseball size in my hand and work it all into my root area all throughout my head. So my final thing I put on my hair is my secret combination for my mid to ends of the hair. As you can see, my hair is pretty fine, so I love to be able to add some texture to it, but also kind of control any of the frizz on the ends too. So I love mixing the texturizing serum and the oil together, both in my hand at the same time, work it together and apply to my mids and ends. That helps to give me a little bit of fullness and texture to the hair. All right, so after I put in all of my products for blow drying, I blow dry my hair upside down a little bit to get most of the moisture out, then back down, and I use a brush to kind of round it out. So now that my hair is dry, before I flat iron, I will always spray in the texturizing spray. Now I use the texturizing spray because personally my hair is fine. It doesn't have any texture to it, it doesn't have much life to it, it's just pretty fine and straight. If you had more textured hair or thicker hair, I would recommend using the oil to prep your hair. So to apply my texturizing spray, I want to focus in the root area and all the way down through the ends. Now I'll go ahead and brush through it. So as you can see, I've gotten lots of texture through my hair, which is gonna be great. It helps the flat iron grip onto it, as well as just overall in the end result, my hair will stay a little bit better. But I don't want to go in and start flat ironing this really messy hair texture. So I'm gonna brush through it with a paddle brush and get it all smooth again. Now I'm not brushing the product out, I'm just smoothing the hair back out so that my end result when I do flat iron curl will be a lot smoother. All right, so next up, we're ready to curl with the flat iron. So I love using some sort of clip to be able to section the hair up. We're gonna work in two different sections. I'm gonna go from kind of my temple area and just draw a line with my finger back and separate. And I'll go ahead and clip this section up. I'm just gonna go ahead and work one side and then we'll do the other. So I'm going to use a flat iron that we have here at Pure. I love it because the heat setting is very easy to use. I prefer to keep my heat setting for my personal hair at 385. That's a good in-between. If you have a lot coarser, stronger hair, you might be able to go up to 400. And if you have even finer hair than myself, you might wanna go down to about 365. So 385 is good for my medium thickness of hair that's in pretty decent shape, we'll say. So there's a couple different ways you can hold the flat iron though. So you have to figure out what's comfortable for you. There's also going to be different areas of the head, which sometimes you're going to come over above and sometimes you might come under. So we'll talk about those two different ways as we work around the head and what's comfortable for you. The main thing you want to make sure you do is always go back away from the face. So especially when you're right at the face, you want to make sure you're going back away. We don't really want to be bringing them towards our face. So you can alternate. Some can go back, some can go forward if you really wanted to build a lot of different textures in the hair. So that's a little pro tip. Otherwise today I'm going to go in a backward motion for all of my sections. So for my subsections, we'll call them, depending on the density of your hair, you might have to take smaller ones or larger ones. So because I have a medium, kind of fine density, especially right here, I can go with a pretty large section around my face. So I basically just took my finger from behind the ear and went straight down and gathered this section here. If you have a lot thicker hair, you might want to cut that into two sections. The larger the section, the larger your wave will be. So if you want smaller waves or curls, take smaller sections. If you want them to be larger and looser, take larger. So here I'm going to start with my flat iron, my arm brought over. I personally find it more comfortable to really tilt your head down. For me, it's a lot of reaching to be straight up. So it's a little bit easier when I can be tilted down, and then I can curve and work my flat iron down towards the ground instead of having to be so high. So the main thing is I'm going to start here close to the scalp, and immediately I'm starting to turn. I have to use my second hand to grab it, and here I'm turning and working my way down. So when I get my flat iron all the way down, I take it and twist it with my fingers. And you want to let it cool in that twisted. So just right away, I prefer to let these cool like this, but I'm going to show you what I created. So I'm going to move around to the whole rest of the head, and then I'm going to come in and maybe do a few underneath here. So once they've cooled, I just take my fingers and work through them a little bit so I can see any areas that I might need to redo a little bit. So I can see right here, I would like a little bit tighter of a wave. So I'm just going to take a very small section and add just a little extra bounce in there. Now if there's anything underneath when you look at it that you feel like you need a little bit more wave, I'm going to come in from the underneath area, and I can see there's just a couple that didn't get in there as well. See that little straight guy? So I'm going to grab him, and once again I'm going to tilt pretty far down because if I'm straight up, it's really close to my neck there. So I'm going to tilt and put my flat iron. Now instead of coming from up above, I'm coming from underneath, and I'm going to tilt backwards when I do this. So here I am, I'm tilting backwards, grabbing it with my hand, and working my way down. All right, so now that this section's done, I'm ready for my next one. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this section down, and I'm gonna go about it the same way. So here I am with my front section, and again, depending on the look that you're going for and the density of your hair, you might want to take a smaller section or a larger section. So this I want to make sure I get very close right into the scalp, and I'm going to start twisting and working my way down immediately. So in looking at that, you're going to always want to complete your very first turn, grab, return in your first couple inches of hair. So by the time I get to here, I have completely done a turn and working my way down the hair. So I'll show you that again on this piece. So here I am, just about an inch away from the scalp. I'm moving and I'm turning all before I'm halfway down the hair shaft. So by the time I was about here, I had done a full rotation. So move slowly, but quick enough where you're never stopping on the hair. Too much time with this hot flat iron, just held right on the hair, can cause damage. So you wanna make sure you're always moving in some way. So here we are, I have half the head done and half is still straight. So if you happen to look at this and you think it's either too wavy or not enough wave, I have some solutions for you. So if you felt like it's not wavy enough, you wanted to get a little bit more in there, then I love going through this top section and taking really small little pieces like this. And you can just add some extra curl real quick using smaller sections. Now let's say you feel like it's way too curly. You can use your flat iron to go through and smooth some sections out so it has a little bit less wave. This is also a great trick if you happen to get too much curl on those ends and you'd prefer more of a smooth, straighter ends. So if this seems too curly, you can go ahead and just real quickly work through it. And again, it's a very quick motion, but see how that's just gives it more of a beachy, flatter wave than so much of the bouncy curl. So here again, watch this guy, and if I very quickly go through it, see how it just kind of smoothed it out without completely losing the whole curl. All right, on to the next side. So you have to decide what is most comfortable for you because you might have to switch the way that you do one side versus the other. We all have an easier side, but just know that you can go up above or you can come from down below, but you always want to do a backward motion. So for here, I'm still able to do this section by coming from the above. So again, you can see what you feel more comfortable with if you like to go this way with it from underneath, or if you want to come from up above. Your end result will be the same as long as you make sure you're always going back. Now you can see my layers up through this top area are a lot shorter than what this length was down here. So that's gonna be similar if you are someone who has just shorter hair anyways, like your style is just shorter. So what you'll notice is when I'm working on this top, I have to move a lot faster and start almost earlier so that I can move through and get to a shorter length. When you have longer hair, you can take your time and twist a little bit more because you have that whole length to do. So if you had a shorter shoulder length, chin bob, just know you'll adapt these exact same motions. You might just need to work a little bit quicker and start your turning a little bit sooner. So now that I have all of my sections done, I've gone through and tweaked any little areas that I wanted to do. I personally love finishing my hair with a secret little combination because once again, my hair is medium to fine. So I love using, this is the Invisible Serum, and I mix it with the oil. So the oil gives me all this shine, while the invisible serum helps to give me that separation and just a little bit of hold. If you had thicker, more textured hair, I'd suggest using the oil by itself. And if you wanted to get more of a beachy textured wave, you can also go ahead and finish with the texturizing spray to give more of a textured look to your hair. Your flat iron does matter. Not all flat irons are created equal. We love the one here at Pure. It has a great heat control setting. It also has nice curved round edges, and the depth of it is about 1 inch. So it gives you a lot of working room, and it helps to create that perfect, smooth, rounding curler wave. Feel free to practice with your flat iron not on and not in your hair. Just work on getting those motions done all the way through without the use of heat or hair. Thanks for watching.